What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today I'm going over the brand new collection from Starrily called Winter Carnival. We've actually got 12 brand new polishes in this collection and we've got a variety of different finishes. We've got shimmers, we've got multi-chrome magnetics, we have full coverage glitters, so there's a lot to look forward to. Now if you haven't heard of Starrily before, they are an independent nail polish brand that is based in the US and all of their polishes are 10 free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So I'm really excited about this collection because there are a lot of really gorgeous shades here, and I've definitely been going through a little bit of a magnetic phase. I actually just posted a video on everything you need to know about magnetic nail polishes, so if you're not familiar with magnetics or you don't know quite how to get them to work, you can check out that video. But let's just dive into these swatches, then we talk a little bit more about my thoughts on the collection, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm switching it up. I'm using the Starrily base coat. So we'll start off with the shimmers of the collection. This first one is called Icicle Tea, and this one is a sheer iridescent blue shimmer. So you can see when the light hits it, it has this really intense blue coloring, and I have to say I'm normally not a huge fan of this type of iridescent shimmer just because when the light is not hitting it, it kind of looks a little bit yellowed, which you can see on the areas of my nail where it doesn't have direct light shining on it. But I did notice with this one, at least on my warmer skin tone, it almost kind of just looked like it blended in with my skin color. So I actually thought it looked kind of cute in two coats, but I feel like I would probably wear this one more as a topper. So I'm showing you really quick what it looks like over black because that's where I feel like iridescent shimmers tend to really stand out. And you can see what a beautiful deep blue that iridescent shimmer turns into. So definitely very stunning over black. I'll probably just keep this one as a topper because this is a very irresistible look. Next up we have the shade Wizard Dual Chrome, which I have to say, I don't know if it was intentional, but I love the little play on the name where it's dual chrome because we have another iridescent shimmer here. This one is a more green to gold iridescent shimmer, and this time it's actually in a softer pink base. So it's a really beautiful shade. It's definitely on the sheer side, but it almost has this sort of multi-chromatic intensity in that every way you look at it, you're going to see different colors. So where the light is not hitting it, I see this fuchsia into purple, but where the light is hitting, I can see gold into green and even some orangey copper around the edges. But again, I wanted to try it over black just to see how that would transform, and as I suspected, it turned into this really intense green shimmer that has a little bit of gold around the edges. So I love shades like this where it almost feels like two polishes in one. You get this sort of soft ethereal version. It's kind of like the daytime polish, and then you have this intense deep night version if you wear it over black or a dark color. So now moving on to the magnetics. This first one is called Fairy Floss, and looking at it before I magnetized it, it almost looked like this peachy salmon kind of color, and then the shimmer within it looked to be kind of a mix of pink and gold shimmers, which really just added to that sort of orangey salmon kind of look. So I applied 2 coats for full coverage just without the magnet first to see what that looked like, but then what I like to do with my magnetic polishes is I like to paint it on for full coverage and then I'll apply a final coat to magnetize. So I did apply a 3rd coat and magnetize that, and let me tell you, I absolutely was not expecting the outcome of this polish to be what it was. I didn't know what to expect. I guess I kind of figured it would stay being this sort of corally color and maybe some of that shimmer would go towards the center, but no, this one completely transformed. All of that gold pigment was actually the magnetic pigment and it came to the center, and then it left this intense fuchsia shimmer with that coral base that just turned it into a completely new color. I've never seen anything like this and I thought it was absolutely absolutely stunning. Of course, I also had to try it in the aura style or the velvet style, where you just move the magnet around the edges of your nail and it kind of creates this sort of three-dimensional velvety look. So I applied another coat, and while that one was still wet, I went in with my magnet, and this one also looked really cool. I feel like all of that gold pigment pulled up to the front and all of the pink pigment stayed on the bottom. So it's honestly kind of hard to tell on camera, but in person, I felt like when I moved my nail around, I either saw all pink shimmer or all gold shimmer, which I thought was really beautiful. And again, it kind of has like a two-in-one kind of feeling when you're wearing it. Next up, we have another magnetic shade. This one is called Northern Lights Simulator, and this was another one that I really didn't know what to expect as I was applying it, because as I applied it, it almost looked like this sort of brownish shimmer, and there were so many shimmery colors going on inside the polish that unmagnetized, it really just looked fairly neutral. I could pick out some green, blue, purple, and even gold, and it was honestly really pretty, especially looking at it up close unmagnetized, but I had to try it with the magnet, of course. So I applied a coat to magnetize, and this was another type of magnetic I'd really never seen anything like before, because it almost feels like there's three different colors of magnetic pigment in there. We have that sort of greenish blue color, we have the grayed out purple, and we have the gold, and they all just came to the center of the nail and left this sort of jelly black base going on, and it was really beautiful, definitely unlike anything I've ever seen before, so I was very impressed with this one. But let me tell you, you guys are absolutely not prepared for what this polish looked like with the aura style, because I applied a third coat to magnetize, and as soon as I moved my magnet, these magnetic pigments shifted so incredibly, like nothing I'd ever seen before, and it looked like I created a multicolor gradient on my nails, because at the top of my nail I could see this turquoise that faded into this purplish blue that faded into silver, and then at the bottom there was gold. So this is truly unlike any magnetic polish I've ever seen before. It is stunning, and I am absolutely going to be wearing this in the aura style forever. So now let's move on to the multi-chrome magnetics. These ones are so unreal. They're really cool because every way you move your nail around, they're gonna look like a different color. So this shade is called Silent Night Sky, and looking at it before I magnetized it, this one was a really intense blue to purple as the initial shift, but as I moved my hand around, I could see that purple shifting into pink and then even into like sort of a coppery red color, but mostly I saw this really beautiful blue indigo purple kind of situation. So I love when a polish looks really beautiful unmagnetized as well, because sometimes I'm a little bit too lazy to magnetize my manicure. So this one is a really stunning wintry shade, but I did magnetize it, of course, so I applied my third coat to magnetize, and all of that multi-chrome pigment is actually the magnetic pigment. So when I did the cat eye style, it pulled all of that pigment towards the center of the nail, and all of the surrounding pigment is a really beautiful black jelly. So it just looks like a cosmic sort of manicure, just a galaxy manicure in a bottle, super easy to do, and it just looks really beautiful. I do feel like looking at this footage, the top left corner of my cuticle area, I can't tell if that's sparse or if that's just my reflection, so I'll have to try it again. I might need to wear a third coat to make this polish more full coverage. Then we've got the shade Velvet Skydive, and this is another multi-chrome magnetic. This one, looking at it head on, I see a copper into fuchsia, but around the edges I can see a lot more colors, honestly the full rainbow. That fuchsia turns into a purple and then into a blue, and then on the coppery side it turns into gold, into yellow, into green, and then back around to blue. So you really get the full spectrum of color here, and again, it's just a really beautiful multi-chrome shade to wear on its own without any magnetization. I feel like the main colors that I see on my nails are that copper into pink into fuchsia, and then even a little bit into purple. So just a really stunning any time of year shade. And then with that cat eye style of magnetization, it was pretty much the same thing. So all of that multi-chrome pigment in there is actually the magnetic pigment, and it pulled all towards the center, and it left this really beautiful three-dimensional line that looked mostly pinky purple, but you could still see all of the other exciting colors. And then around the edges we had more of that black jelly that just looks so deep and dark. And then with the aura style, which is something I love to do with multi-chrome magnetics because I feel like it just ramps up the color to 100%, is it pulls all of that magnetic pigment to the front, and then as you move your nail around, it almost looks like a marble where you could see all of that colorful pigment in the front just looking super intense and bright, and then as you move your nail around, you can see this sort of black background kind of thing. So super cool. And then we have the final shade in the multi-chrome magnetic section of this collection. This one is called Serpent's Lair. So this one is a really intense blackened green multi-chrome. So looking at it head on, I'm mostly seeing this lime green into yellow, but that also shifts into a gold and then even into a sort of coppery color around the edges. And then on the green side, it almost turns a little bit blue at extreme angles. So another super stunning shade. Honestly, would just wear this on its own. I love shades like this. I think they're so beautiful. And you know, I always think that green polishes are very underrated. So loved this one on its own. And then same thing, once I magnetized this one in the cat eye style, it pulled all of that multi-chrome pigment towards the center and it left me with this really intense 3D line of that green into gold kind of color. And then we have that really intense black jelly around the edges. Again, I feel like I could see a little bit of lightness around the top cuticle area, but I still can't tell if that's just my reflection because that is where I sit and it's a very shiny polish. And then the same exact thing with doing the velvet / aura style. I kind of pulled all of that multi-chrome pigment towards the front of the nail, so it looks really intense head on. Like that yellow green is just super vibrant and bright, but as I move my nail around, it does have that three-dimensional effect where at certain times you can see that layer of black underneath and certain times you just see the real intensity of that multi-chrome pigment. So now let's move on to the final section of the collection, which is these full coverage micro glitter polishes. So this first one is called Candy Cane Lane. This one is the red. So we've got a ton of super teeny tiny glitters in a clear base, and this one does build up to full coverage. For me, all of these ended up taking 3 coats, but you can also sponge them on if you want to make them a little bit more opaque in less coats. But personally, I just prefer to paint on polishes like this. I find it to be a little bit easier and smoother. It ended up looking really gorgeous in 3 coats. The glitters are super dimensional, and I feel like there might be a little bit of a holo shift in some of these, but it was hard to tell. This one looked pretty much metallic to me, but one thing I love about these glitters is that they're actually smaller than the usual full coverage glitters that I see. So I found that it really covered up any sparse areas so nicely. And because it was so tiny, I thought it might look really cool as a topper as well. So I tried all of these over black, and I have to say I was really impressed. I just feel like this kind of turned into a blackened red, and it just looks a little bit more intense and deeper and vampier. Next up, we have the shade Sugar Plum. So this is another full coverage micro glitter, and this is where I was starting to see a little bit of that holographic shift in there, because this time we have this really gorgeous fuchsia leaning purple color, but there is definitely a little shift going on. You can especially see it where the camera is a little bit out of focus in my cuticle area, where it almost turned a little bit blue, and then you could see a little bit of like a pinky reddish coppery kind of color coming through as well. So another super gorgeous one. I was able to get full coverage in 3 coats, but there were little spots at the free edge of my nail that I thought could use just a little bit more coverage, so I just dotted on a little bit extra there. So that's something that I find myself doing pretty often when it comes to full coverage glitters in clear bases like this, but it's super easy, and then once it dries down to be at the same level as the rest of the polish. And then I tried this one over black as well, and I thought this looked so stunning. It definitely transformed, and this one almost gave me a little bit of a galaxy vibe as well, especially with that little bit of blue and red shine in there combined with the purple. Looked so gorgeous. Moving on, we have the shade Crystal Cave. This is another full coverage micro glitter in a clear base, and this one is a really beautiful vibrant teal kind of color, and again, I'm definitely seeing a little hint of holo in here. Now, it is hard to tell because sometimes holographic glitters don't shine every single color of the rainbow. Sometimes they just kind of shift between a few different colors, and I think that's what I was getting with this one as well, because I could definitely see that teal shifting into blue and then even into a little bit more of a green and a yellow at certain angles. So as I'm moving my nail around, it definitely gives it a lot more dimension. It looks really beautiful. Honestly, I am so surprised that this is in a clear base, because looking at it in 3 coats, it truly just looks like a full coverage polish. So I was really impressed with that. And again, I tried this one over black and I thought it was super stunning. It definitely deepened up the color a lot, but it still had so much dimension going on. And I feel like with this type of glitter, you could also wear any of these colors over a similar base. It'll definitely have a similar effect, but I personally love it over black because I do think that it gives it a little bit more of like a moodier, intense vibe. And then we have the shade Emerald Gala, and if you watched my recent video on my holiday 2023 favorites, you probably saw this polish, and I am just so in love with this one. The micro glitters in here are so teeny tiny and fine that they just come together so nicely and create this beautiful full coverage polish. Honestly, I would probably also wear this in 2 coats if I wanted a slightly less intense look, because I do feel like it gave me very nice non-patchy coverage. It was just a little bit more sheer, but with the 3rd coat, I did get full coverage, and this looks like such an intense, beautiful glitter. I love that green color. It has a little bit of a warm undertone to it, and it just looks so sparkly and bright. And I really loved this one over black, especially because I found for whatever reason, this green color looked so bright against the black. It almost looked like it was just little glowing bits with a black base. So I thought that was super stunning. Definitely going to be wearing this combo a lot. And then the final shade in this collection is Gingerbread Castle, and this one is another glitter in a clear base, but this one is a little bit different. So we actually have multiple different sizes of this almost champagne gold metallic glitter in the clear base. So because we have some of those larger pieces in there, I did find that it applied to be a little bit more sparse, but I was able to get full coverage in 3 coats. It's definitely hard to show on camera because it was so reflective that you could just see me and the black camera kind of reflected in there no matter how I moved my nail around. But I would probably not wear this one as a full coverage color, just because even in 3 coats, it just looked like there were some areas that were missing a little bit, and I'm not sure if they actually were or if it was just how reflective it is, but I really did think it looked beautiful over black, and I think that this one I would probably use for glitter gradients just because there is that variance in size and it would make it a little bit more seamless for a gradient going up or down my nail. But this combo with the black and that beautiful champagne color definitely feels like a perfect New Year's manicure to me. So here are all the shades together, and I'm really impressed with just how much we got in this one collection. I feel like there was so much going on with the multi-chrome magnetics, with those extra interesting magnetics that had colors in it that I've just never seen before. And then we had those full coverage micro glitters. Truly, I love the entire bottom row of micro glitters. I think these are going to be my go-tos, and I would love to see a full rainbow of a micro glitter finish, but with this tiny of a glitter, because I think it just looks so much finer and smoother on the nail. But the standout for me has to be Fairy Floss. What a stunning color, and especially with that cat eye style where it just completely transformed into something I've just never seen before. So definitely a standout shade for me, but overall I really enjoyed them. So those are the polishes, and like I said, I really enjoyed this collection. I love the variety of different finishes that we have. I love the theme going on. I think it's so fun, and I especially love how unique these magnetic shades look. They're just so stunning. I also love those micro glitters that have just the teeny tiny glitters in them because I think they apply so smoothly. If you love the look of a full coverage micro glitter, but you're not a fan of the way that those mini glitters look, I feel like this is a great option because it definitely gives a smoother look on the nails, but you can also always wear it as a topper as well. So I definitely appreciate that. I think the Starrily happens to make some really beautiful glitters. But yeah, overall, I'm just very pleased with this collection. My only complaint is that I wish these came out a little bit earlier, especially those micro glitters, because I feel like they would have been perfect for all of December just to wear to get ready for the holidays. But I still feel like I can make these shades work for later winter season vibes. And I think I'm definitely going to be wearing a lot of magnetics for January and February, so I am excited to wear those. So now let's get into pricing and availability. All of these polishes are available on the Starrily website. They do also have some international stockists, so I will put some info down in the description. All of the polishes come in 15 milliliter bottles, and they do have a wide flat brush that has a straight tip, and they retail for $16 USD each. I also do have a discount code for the Starrily website, so you can use the code KELLI to get 10% off your order there. So I will link everything down in the description. You can check them out if you're interested, but I would love to hear from you. What do you think of this collection? Have you picked any of the shades up yet, or are you planning to? And which of the finishes is your favorite? favorite? Leave it in the comments, we can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Paula, Ken, Rosie, and Angel. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Pookie Bear, and Pookie Bear wants to know, what is a nail care step you never skip? My instinct is to say base coat because I feel like a lot of people skip the base coat and I never skip the base coat. However, there is an exception to that rule because Orly has that breathable line and I do like wearing those without base coat because I do feel like maybe it's a placebo effect, I'm not really sure, but I feel like it makes my nails feel a little bit stronger. Oh wait, actually no. I was gonna say I never skip top coat, but I do skip top coat if I'm using a textured polish or a matte polish. You know what actually I do every single time I paint my nails though, is I very lightly file them. My nails do grow very fast and I don't use a nail clipper, I just use a nail file. So the more often I file them, the quicker it takes. If I wait a week or even 2 weeks, then my nails get way too long and I like to keep them on the shorter side. So I guess that's the thing that I never skip. I always file my nails before I paint them. But if there's a step that you never skip, let me know in the comments. We can chat about it and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.